a link already set up with kind of what the goal would be. So in MyLO, it just looks like a regular link or button. But as soon as I click on it, that's where it becomes apparent that there's additional things that I've specified. So not only do I get to specify the recipient, that's usually what email links by default basically include, but I went further to specify what the subject will be, and I specified what the body will be too. I did that all through mail2linkgenerator.com. I'm going to post that in the chat. And so this makes it really easy. Rather than having to build the HTML code myself, I just plug in the pieces that they need. You can also CC and BCC with these websites as well. The other website I want to share, it's essentially the same steps. So you have the recipient, the CC and the BCC line, and I'll drop the other website into the chat as well. The subject is asked on both of those, and then the body. The only difference, this one here, mail2link.me, does not require or doesn't ask for the link text, and this one does. But you don't need to fill in the link text. The only time that the link text would be required would be if you are typing or writing in full HTML. But all you need is what's inside the HTML tag. And essentially what that is the portion that begins with mail to and goes on to include the rest of those details about the email.
Maurice, I think I missed the beginning. How did you get here?
So these are just separate websites. I dropped those into the chat. So the websites are mail2linkgenerator.com and mail2link.me. These are tools that are going to help you build up an email if you wanted to make it more than just when you click on a link. You know, usually it's just bringing up your email provider, and it just has the recipient and the subject, the CC, BCC lines, and the body of the message are usually left blank. If you wanted to specify any of those other portions of the email, then you can do that with the website. And so this was, and I don't know if you saw the example as well.
No, I think I missed it.
Okay, so this is an example of I pre-generated the email link here with all of these specifications. So not only did I provide the recipient of mylo@lwvc.org, but then I added a subject and a body to the message.
Okay. So this is useful, like if you have a link and you want them to send you an email, it puts the information in there so that you know what they're talking about, which link came from, that kind of thing. Like if you're RSVPing for something, you put that into the email so that when you receive it, it's recognizable. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
It gives them a chance to edit the message, but definitely if there's some kind of messaging that you would like them to provide in their response, or you would like them to see, whatever it may be, this is a nice way to customize either the message that's going to them or that they're sending back to you.
You could use it like a little form.
That too, yeah, and allow them to fill out or answer the questions that you've provided.
Are there any size constraints?
I don't believe that there are any constraints. It will all be rendered in the way that the recipient is receiving their email. So it will just shrink or grow to the size of the screen that is containing it. the thing of maybe constraints of maybe images, you may not be able to add those in. I haven't tried myself. Let's see if a drag and drop may do something here. I would imagine that images may not be able to be added. If they are able to be dropped in, it could also be a thing of the recipient may not be able to download the images or see them properly. Does not allow for a drag and drop. No. Okay. And that's totally understandable. But yeah, the spaces and paragraph breaks are kept. So whether it's being seen in HTML or in just plain text on the recipient side, they should still see it broken out like this. And I didn't try this one myself, but it is the same thing. Once you fill in all these pieces, let's see. Here it is. It starts to fill in as you are filling it in. And once you finish all the bits and pieces, you'll copy the code. Okay. Would you guys like to see an example of me plugging it in to create a new email link on MyLO?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I want to know what you do after you copy that. Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
yeah. Let's add a little bit more, say, test email. Okay, so this is going to go to milo@lwvc.org. It's the subject of test email. We have a bit of a message there in the body. All right, coming back over to our contact us page, I'm just going to add it right under what we have. Okay, so enter on the keyboard. I'm going to remove the formatting. Let us know your comments. And I'll just use that line as the link. And you can use either one of the linking tools, but I'm just going to use the smaller one.
Oh,
And the link URL, I copied what was generated for me, and I'm pasting that in. So it's going to end with whatever was the last bit of my body of the message. And then the beginning portion always should begin with mail to colon.
hmm.
So that's how you know it's in there.
Right. And that first portion, mail to colon, lets you know that it's going to be an email link as well. The target, you can set it, but I believe no matter what, it will open in a new window. And then the title just allows you to have a little message that appears when you hover over it. I'm going to go ahead and insert that. And then let's save and test it out.
This is very cool.
It is definitely not what we're expecting. Okay. I have a feeling that there might have been a space. The percentage sign 20 represents a space that could have broken my email link. Let's try that again. Hopefully that is the issue. Otherwise, I'll be a little stumped here. Okay. So I've just clicked into the link so that I can make sure that I'm checking that out. Coming back home. Percentage side 20, it broke everything, having a little extra space. So not only having the mail to colon, make sure that there is no space pretty much there shouldn't be any spaces anywhere. If you want spaces to be rendered, the percentage sign 20 represents that. That's something that you don't really need to know. It's a good to know because you'll recognize that in the future. But that's what these other websites are for, the mail to link generator and mail to link.me. They prevent you from having to remember those things. Okay, so fingers crossed that that was the culprit.
It's very nice for us when things go wrong for you, because then we learn about those too, because we'll run into them, I'm sure.
Exactly, and hopefully this keeps you from the headache, because
The
we'll run it
Trying to figure it
for
out.
you.
Yep.
Definitely. I'm definitely gonna have to play around with this one some more.
You just need to
If you
refresh
click
maybe.
on, will we see, I mean, even though it doesn't look like what we want, if you click on
I
it, will it do the
don't
thing you want?
So, oh,
Hmm.
clicking on it, it should give us the result. No. Okay, there might be something with the formatting. Let's try this one more time. Okay, so checking this out again. I'm gonna go slowly through what we have generated. Okay, and sorry, let me see if I can zoom in here. There we go. That might be a little more helpful. So y'all can see what I'm looking at. Okay, from the looks of it, everything looks to be fine. Maybe I will remove the title key if that makes a difference for us. And just for fun, look at the HTML. Okay, I don't see anything that's alarming. Okay, let's try that again. This time I'm just going to publish.
Hmm.
Definitely something I need to play around with some more. And I can let y'all know what happens here. This is essentially, these are kind of the same tasks that I did. The send message blue button, I created that using this website. And then this link, y'all saw me create it with this one. I would imagine.
How did you create the blue button before we escape this?
Oh yeah, I just added the formatting under the, I think it's styles dropdown. Apply it to the other.
Now you put formatting on that send message text and it turned it into a button. Is that what happened?
What's
You
a style,
highlight
isn't it?
the, it's a style. You highlight the text that you want
Right.
to be encapsulated, and then under styles, select button.
Okay,
And for purple and gold sites, it's a purple button instead of a blue button.
Hmm.
Okay. I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but we're already here. And we'll try saving that as a draft. It's probably going to be the whole long link in the button. Yeah, that's definitely frustrating. I'll keep trying, and I don't know if it could be something between the two websites, or it could be something where our formatting is making an automatic change. I'm not entirely sure who's causing it here.
But just to be clear, this is nothing that a person would have to do if they're just coming new to MyLO.
Exactly.
This is an enhancement, and
Yeah, definitely an optional thing here, only if you wanted to do extra for your site. I have this page saved on my other screen, so I can go with that more. But yeah, it was a simple little thing. Mail to link generator.com. They're the same, but I obviously might have a little bit more bias towards this one at the moment. And then the other mail to link.me.
Oh, they're two different sites, but either one of them does the
Yeah.
same thing. Okay.
Exactly.
I like the one that works too.
Yeah,
There you go.
I was thinking I could use that first one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can definitely jump into questions. Like I said, it was going to be a short one for me.
Well, you're on the slideshow, right? You're showing the slideshow.
Mhm.
We are talking about doing some sort of public acknowledgement of donors. And we're
Mhm.
still dealing with that. But, you know, one suggestion I had was to do something on the slideshow. But would I be able to, could I create, you know, a very
Mhm.
simple Word document and then make that a PDF and then put that in the media library? I don't know how to do that. Because usually I'm getting pictures for the slideshow.
And so are you thinking to have a portion of the document as the slideshow image?
Well, it would be a document, you know, thank you to our donors during fiscal years, blah, blah, blah. Mary Jo, Tony, you know, very simple. But I don't know how to, you know, I'm usually dealing with pictures and I'm thinking that I can make a PDF that could be a picture I can load.
It would have to be an image for the slideshow. So if you wanted to create it first in a Word doc or a PDF, then you can convert it to an image.
How do I do
That's
that?
always an option. I usually use PDF to, let's see, no, I
Oh.
love PDF. .com.
I love PDF.com.
Yes. And then what is the other? I can't remember. Let's just look up PDF converter. Small PDF is the other one that I use quite often. But those both allow you to convert files from or to PDF. You just choose.
I'm confused. This must be something, I mean, obviously, if I'm doing a Word document, I can save it as a PDF, but you're saying I have to do more than that.
Well, no. If you're working with a Word document, then I love PDF is probably
Ooh.
easier.
Why do I need to go? I mean, I just save it from my Windows. What am I missing?
The Word doc would still have to be converted to an image. So,
Okay, all right. And that's okay.
and I think, oh, it looks like they don't have that option on this one. So let's look up Word to image converter.
So when you say converted to an image, is PDF considered an image?
I guess not.
It is not.
Okay. So
I take a
you mean like
picture.
a JPEG or a PNG or something of your Word document?
Yeah. I believe even a GIF is allowed to. Let me pretend to add a slideshow item, and then it shows us the option. Yeah, PNG, GIF, JPG, and JPEG are the only allowed file types for a slideshow item.
I take a picture with my cell phone, but it is hard to get it straight.
That is a very, yes, it is a very annoying but known
Oh,
issue. I don't know if it is specifically for iPhones. It could just be a mobile device thing. I can't remember the details of it, but I remember one of our previous developers told us that with the dimensions or certain things that are being tracked on the mobile phone, as far as the dimensions of an image don't translate exactly to desktop, that can sometimes cause the image to be flipped on its side. Even if you rotate the image maybe once to make it as if it would be right side up, it still uploads like on its side. One way that I have figured that a solution out for somebody before was that I rotated the image all the way around. So the issue with this person's image, she took it right side up. I can't remember if her phone was laying to the side or was right side up in portrait mode. But when she would upload the image to MyLO, the image, instead of being right side up as it looked in her phone, was laying on its left side. So I downloaded the image to my phone and rotated it 4 times so that essentially it was back sitting straight up. It looked like I did nothing. But once I re-uploaded that version, it was sitting straight up. So you might try that, Susan. It's kind of a silly solution, but it could possibly work.
That wasn't my problem.
Oh.
I've printed a document and then stood over it with my cell phone and taken its picture. And that way you're holding it in your hand and it's hard not to be a little bit askew or a little bit too close or too far. So, you know, it's not as good as this lovely little program you showed us. So if we can do that, that gets a more guaranteed result.
So I always take a screenshot. I have a little app called Snagit. And I don't remember if it's free, and it used to be free. I think it might cost $10 now, but it's really great for grabbing things, and then you can edit them down to, you know, whatever you want, or you can, you know, identify which part of the screen you want to snag, and that works great. And I just save it as a JPEG and use it. I've done that numerous times.
Another program is called SNP, S-N-I-P. Works similarly, but I find that once in a while it insists it has to take the whole screen. It won't let me take a piece of the screen, but you know, mostly it works too.
And you can always crop it if you need to, but Snagit is great. I use it all the time.
And are these both desktop applications or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about SNP, but definitely Snagit is
Okay.
a desktop application.
Amaris, when you were in ilovepdf.com, did you say that one of those 4 options was you were able to convert to? Did we decide?
Right. Word, converting from Word to an image.
Oh, we were just still Googling. Okay.
Maybe small.
Oh, there is small PDF.
Let's see if they do allow for it. They do. So it looks like the best way to find a converter is probably just by Googling it.
Okay.
The first few results are usually pretty reliable. Most of these websites will just have a bunch of ads probably around, so just be aware of that. But converting it from whatever original file that you're working in to any type of image, it could be a PNG, a GIF, or a JPEG, just as long as you convert it to any type of image, and then you'll be able to, well, if it were a PDF, you could upload it, but then you'll be able to use it here on the slideshow image.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Does it ever go the other way, converting an image into a Word document? I say that because sometimes a designer will do a graphic for us and we need to change something on it and we don't have the program.
Yeah, you certainly can. I think, yeah. So most of these conversion websites that allow you to convert a file from one thing to the other will have more services available. So not just the specific one you landed on, you can usually find what you're looking for. And then again, if you are just going straight to Googling it, you can type in the file types you're looking for. So if I was looking for GIF to PDF and then just the word converter, even adding the word free will give you an extra boost so you know you're going to be able to use what you're getting. But most of the time, these are going to be free to use in the result.
And did you say the one that you have is ilovepdf.com?
Yeah, ilovepdf.com and smallpdf.com are ones I use most often. I'll drop those in the chat as well.
Okay, good.
Well, I subscribe to, what is it? I don't know, Acrobat, Adobe, so that I can
Yeah.
Oh,
make a PDF into a Word document. Do you think that's one of the options? I've never looked for it.
I'm not sure if Adobe will offer like the other way around from a PDF to something else, but it's worth looking
Yeah, I'm
into.
gonna look, yeah.
Yeah, it's a robust
I just
service.
thought about
so-
that, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's possible because I've done it, but I don't remember which app I use. But it, you know, it also depends on the PDF, if it's got the text embedded in it. You know,
Mm,
'cause sometimes the PDF doesn't have all the metadata that it needs to turn it into a regular document. But they've also got the ones, you know, that are like the optical scanners. Then you have to go in and clean it up afterwards, but
Mm.
that's another option.
yeah, and then that might depend on how the resulting converted file comes out, right?
Exactly.
Always make sure to have a copy or the original in case
Yeah,
the converted one comes out a little different.
My version of Word will open a PDF, which is something of a miracle.
Well, yeah,
very cool.
That it will allow
And
you to
then you can
save as a
change it.
version. Do you have Adobe services as well or a
No,
subscription?
No, I have the one that you have to pay the subscription every year for the Microsoft programs. But I can take open Word and go to a PDF document and open it, and it becomes a Word document.
Hmm. From a PDF to a Word document.
And
Oh.
Word is doing it.
oh,
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. All right. Did anybody have any other questions?
I do.
Certainly.
And I'm embarrassed to raise it. But
Not at all.
you went through how to embed an image into some text last time, and I thought, good, I'm ready to go. And I still can't make it work. So could we have one more demo of how to do that?
For sure. Refresh my memory. Embedding an image into text. I'm not entirely sure what
But
you mean by
I
that.
want to wrap some text around a picture. So I have a biography of someone who's going to give a talk for us. And I want to have their picture and I want to have their information kind of nicely wrap around it.
Okay. Sounds good. We can certainly go over that. I'm going to use our About page just so that I have some text to work with. I'm going to generate some Bob Ross lorem ipsum. Okay, coming back to the about, I'm going to just drop in my text first. And I want my image to sit up as high as it can so that the wrapping text will start, you know, near the top of the image.
Yep.
So let's add in something here. Let's do this historical image. Alrighty. Definitely want this to be smaller. Okay, so we have the image up at the top with it selected. The styles drop down is what you want to use. And float image right or float image left are the main ones to make use of. And so I've added float image right onto this one, or onto this image. If I want to turn that off, let's say I want to float the image left instead, I'm going to once again click on float image right so that it toggles it off. I'll show that again, now this time using float image left.
So you would do that instead of clear float?
Right. Yeah,
Okay, so it's a toggle, got it.
exactly.
Now,
Um,
You used a full-size image,
I
and I
did.
used a thumbnail, but either one should work.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
In the display as option, thumbnail, full content, and original size are the best ones to go with. There can often be some issues with the quarter size or the WYSIWYG. And the link, you can use it, but most people don't look to offer a link to just view the image from the media library instead. That's what the link does. But yeah, if I chose thumbnail instead, it may not show the difference because I already manually resized the image. But let's submit that. Okay. I can't really tell by my eye if it made a difference. But yeah, if you apply any of these floats, it does also give a little bit of padding between the image and the text. If you instead use, I'm going to toggle that off. If you use left justify or right justify, it gives you the same thing, but without that padding. So that's an option. If your image has some padding, you can have the text a little bit closer to it.
Can you just repeat what you just said? Because I like the first way where there's some space in between.
Yeah. So the space in between are the float image options. If
Right.
you want the text to be right up against the image, left justify
Oh,
and
okay,
right
thank you.
justify will
Thank
do
you.
those.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
So
Emma,
I'm gonna,
this,
yeah.
to clarify, because I was really confused about this when I first used these, the
Mhm.
right justify and left justify, they do not apply to the text, they apply to the image, correct?
They apply to whatever you have selected. So it could apply to the text.
Because when I did that with the text, it never did what I wanted it to do.
Did you
And then,
possibly have another style applied to the text?
I don't think so. It's been a while, so
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do remember that, I thought if I highlighted the text and said right justify, that it would move the text to the right and justify it around whatever was going on the left. And that
Oh, I
is
see.
not what it did. So,
I see. I see. Yeah. If you were trying to have the text wrap around what's on the left, which is kind of, I think, the same idea of what Susan is trying to do with the text wrapping around an image, you would want to work with whatever that item is you want the text to wrap around, rather than trying to get the text to wrap around and force it that way. You're going to work with whatever this image is, and the text will naturally wrap.
because I was used to, with like word processor, if you right justify text, then the ragged edge is on the left. And if you left justify text, then the ragged edge is on the right, and it
Was
wasn't.
that not the result
It was
either?
not doing that. No.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It definitely will give you that result of the jagged edge on the left. But if let's say I have it right justified and left justified. Well, let's see, I'm not sure if, no, it's still giving me the same result. I'm not entirely sure what the issue might have been. I'm trying to see if I stack up multiple styles to see if it won't respond in the expected way. There we go. Okay. So I have this bit of section or this text left justified. I did that first, and then I tried to right justify it, and it didn't respond. As soon as I toggle off left justify, it does right justify. So always make sure that no additional styles are applied, because it certainly will ignore what your next response would be, or it could.
It might have been something along those lines. Now I'll go back and play with it again, because
Yeah,
I
and
just
certainly let us
started
know
not
if
using it because I was very confused. And
I have
certainly.
a further question. If you could add another paragraph to this and then try it, the right justify versus the float image, I'm wondering if that additional language wraps clear to the left when you get below the image.
So I have a good bit of text here now. Whoops.
Okay.
And let's float it to the left.
Okay, so
it
it did
goes-
come around to the left margin when you get below the image. Okay,
Mhm. And again, does give a bit of padding underneath the image as well.
sure. Okay.
And I'll show it off to the right as well.
Related to this, is there a way to put a caption or some little acknowledgement, like whose picture it is right beneath?
Yeah,
a
there's a
photo?
couple of ways that you can do it. If you wanted to just start typing under the image, you can. That would could drop into the paragraph down here. And I'm just thinking, like, if you added, whoops, you see if I can get under this image.
It seems to have a lot of padding under it. I've had that where, I want it to wrap right under the image and then it leaves a large space.
What you might try, let's see if changing, I selected the image and instead of it being paragraph, let's see if we set it to div, if that takes away some of it. Yeah, okay.
Oh, there you go.
I think that it might have been taking on like double paragraph padding. So that can be reduced by setting it to div. I'm going to see if I can add text under image. So this is a possible option of, so what I did was click on the image, hit right with my keyboard. I don't yet see my cursor, but I know that I'm just to the right of the image, and I hit enter one time. And that's where it landed me, whoops, right under the image here. So that's one option. It's a free floating caption. And again, it's kind of close to the paragraph. The other option is selecting the image and using the caption option. Let's see, what is the title? Add a caption to an image. And it's the second to last icon.
Oh.
When you add this caption, you cannot easily, there's no way to easily remove it. You will have to delete the image or just remove the image from your text box. You can edit the caption. Just know that it's not easily removed. You'd have to re-add the image back in.
Could you repeat that?
So once I add this in, I'm going to go ahead and insert. Before I insert, I'm going to reiterate where this image is floating in the caption section. So I'm going to say that it's floating to the right. So once I insert that caption, now I can't easily remove it without removing the image. So if I remove the text, the box is still around the image. So I'd have to backspace until it's completely gone. Whoops. There we go. So you'd have to highlight the entirety of the caption, and I'm going to just take that all the way back. So once you add a caption, you just have to get rid of everything within the caption box to be able to see that image without a caption around it.
Can that line, can you go to a second line where it says this is an image caption,
Yeah, you can make your changes here, or you can open up the caption, image caption box again. And it will like plain text take your changes.
Yeah, okay.
So, and Amaris, this is just for this instance of the use of this image, right? It's not like if somebody else uses the same image, it would have that caption on it.
I'm sorry. I forgot to silence our phone line. Okay, I couldn't hear your full question. Could you repeat that, Maddie?
Sure. I just want to verify that when we put a caption on like this, it's only in this instance of using this image, right? It's if somebody else were to use the same image, it would not have the caption, right?
Correct. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, the caption is only used when you're inserting this specifically into your content. The image in the media library won't have this at all. And then let me go ahead and save it so we can see what it looks like on the front. So kind of same idea of the gray box around, and the caption text is the same size as the rest of the text.
Very good.
It's nice. Good to know.
Yeah.
Also nice. Mm.
Any other questions that you might have?
Now, if you wanted that picture to be, the top of the picture to be in line with the text, is that possible? I always have a lot of trouble with
Yeah.
getting the positioning.
And,
there.
and you're meaning this line to be aligned
Yeah.
with this one here?
Exactly.
I believe that I left a couple of lines of just empty at the top. So that we could just backspace
Okay.
until we get up. And actually, I'm going to, okay, yeah, just backspacing. This here, I'm actually going to make that go down. The caption had gone on to just one line, and so bringing that back down to 2. What I'm going to try too is making that div. Oh, well, we found a quick way to break the caption box. It was an unexpected thing, but also I'm glad that came about. So you don't have to get rid of an image to get rid of its caption if you just wanted to not display it in a caption anymore. So what I did, I just selected the text of the caption, and instead of paragraph, I set it to div, and it breaks down the caption box. And that also answers my question of this can only be paragraph text when it is the caption text. Yeah, so if the text is not aligned to your image there at the top, you probably have a couple of extra spaces. So just get rid of those, see what that looks like. Okay. Whoops. Might have something to do with me breaking the caption box there. But if you don't mess with it like I did, you should still see the caption under your image.
Well, that was great. Thank you.
Certainly.
Is it possible to get the image to be in the middle with the text wrapped around it? Or
Yeah, let's
does it have to
try
be
that.
to the right?
The caption options do only offer float left or float right, but we might be able to do more by manipulating it. So let's see if I can, instead of using the image caption option here, float, I'm going to set that to none. And then by selecting the entire caption and everything inside it, let's see if center will give us the desired effect. It's not showing yet. The centering is obviously not rendering right now. But let's see if I save it, if it makes a difference. Because I can't remember if they're able to be centered or not. Doesn't look like that's a possibility. I'm going to make a note of that also to see if it could just be in this particular instance, but I'm imagining that because the image caption options for floating are only left and right, that might be the only way.
And when we do these things, they're automatically used in different types of devices, right? So like it shows one way in a desktop, but then it gets adjusted for the phone or the iPad and that kind of thing
Yeah.
without doing anything extra.
And we can take a look at that while we're still on our desktop. Whenever you're in any of your browsers, if you right click the web page, you have an inspect option. And the inspect option, it's very robust because they're developer tools, but we can also use their easy tools to look at what a mobile device would be. So clicking inspect brings up this sidebar for developers. What we want to do is just toggle the device toolbar. So let me actually, before I click on that, inspect browsers shortcut. I'm going to drop it into the chat. Control.
Whoa, where are we?
So I've just right clicked on my browser, right click on the web page, and I selected inspect.
I'm with you there.
It is definitely a robust tool. We don't even have to worry about this HTML, but it is part of the developer tools. Then the next step is toggling the device toolbar up here. For different browsers, the position of that option could be different, but the shortcut is usually the same. So let me add that shortcut as well. Toggle device toolbar shortcut is Ctrl Shift M. And so what the toolbar, the device toolbar, when you turn that on, by default, it remembers what my last setting was, and it's showing me what an iPhone 6, 7, or 8 user would be. It also gives me options for different Android devices, an iPad, Surface Duo, Galaxy Fold. I can pull up an iPad view, or to see what they're seeing. And the other kind of cool thing, you can turn the phone or the device on its side. You're rotating it to see what they're seeing landscape now. This is an easy way to look at what mobile device users are looking at, instead of having to turn to your phone and see it for yourself.
Are you using Chrome?
I am.
Okay.
I'm going to pull up. I also have Firefox. Or no, sorry. This is Microsoft Edge. I have a MyLO page here. I'm right clicking. The shortcut is the same, so Ctrl Shift I as well. Let me zoom in a little further. With Microsoft Edge, the toggle device toolbar option is in the same position. And so I turn that on, and I can, let's choose iPhone X this time. And I can see how they would see our documentation page. And let's see, I do also have Firefox. We might as well show that one off too. And you can use it from any web page. So here I am just on the Firefox landing page. Inspect, it looks like Firefox has a Q next to it. I'm assuming that means it's their shortcut. Yeah, Q is their shortcut. And then let's see. I'm going to try Ctrl Shift M. Yes. So to toggle their device toolbar, the shortcut is Ctrl Shift M. And then again, they have iPad, iPhones, Galaxy S options. Really helpful when you just want to see what your changes look like on a mobile.
But
Since we're
now,
here, Amaris, can you show them how to acquire the number of pixels you're seeing in each screen?
Yeah. So,
This is really helpful to me.
yeah, the pixel size of, you know, the content area that you're working in can sometimes be helpful when you're creating your own images, and you just need the calculation to have them set out, you know, laid out properly. So what I do is again, with the developer tools enabled, instead of using the toggle device toolbar, I'm using the individual selector. So when I turn that on, you can hover over the page and it just shows you the size and, you know, all of the details of whatever it is you're hovering over.
Where are you seeing the size?
So it is, I'm trying to point to my screen. If you see the little box, the tooltip box that is popping up when I'm hovering over the item, there is, in the top right corner, it says 574.63 by 27.2. I can't point to it because as soon as I move my mouse, it changes. Let's move up here. So
Does anybody see that? I don't see it.
Do you see where it says H1 in the little
Oh,
tooltip
okay.
white box that
Yes.
appeared? Look to the
Yeah,
right of that. Yeah, so the top right corner
Okay,
of
yeah, we
those little
just
boxes.
can't read it, but we could see there's something there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might be too
Yeah.
small. Let's see if we can zoom in a little further. No. But yeah, once you have this little option enabled, you can hover over items and you see how big they are. Just make sure that when you are trying to see the measurement, make sure that your screen zoom is set to 100, that it's, you know, not too big or too small. And also move this bar left or right to make sure that it's not interfering with the width as well, because it could be making your screen a little bit smaller. But yeah, that's the easiest way to get the full size of whatever section you're working in. It works with any section. So the sidebar as well, you can know what the full measure or full width is there.
So now we have all this information and we find out that what we've created on our PC looks terrible on an iPad. What do I do about it?
It could be just the formatting, and it would depend on what you are working with. If it's different images that, you know, maybe you can't make them much smaller. It is hard to say without knowing what like the tangible example could be, but definitely reformatting it would be the next step. It could possibly be a back and forth if you aren't able to, you know, make big changes, and you'd have to do a bit at a time and keep having to go back and forth and saving it and seeing what it looks like with these developer tools. But I would say resizing images and centering things could be really helpful. What I would often see with when I would be adding images to a page, and that it might not look the best on mobile, would be like I've spaced them out, like using the space bar to look very nice on a desktop. But as soon as I look at them on mobile, they're scattered and they weren't spaced out very nicely. So usually centering them and trying to not have so many images across one line was what helped me in the couple times that I remember that happening to me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I know one thing that a number of people that I know fall into is like when you do a list like you're seeing here at the top with the bullet points, they'll put the bullet and then, you know, have a line. And if you don't actually use the bullet points and the formatting, then the wrapping, it gets really ugly and confusing. So, you know, like if you want a list like that, you have to actually use the bullet points when you're creating it, and then it'll format the way you want. Right.
Yeah.
Number of things like that where, you know, it may look fine if you do it manually, but it won't translate well unless you actually use the provided formatting that scales to everything else.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, do you mean like spacing out a list to
Yeah,
mimic the indenting?
right, exactly. The indenting is the important thing in the bullet points. You know, if it just wraps all the way back, all the way to the left, then the bullets kind of get lost.
Yeah, I get things in Word a lot for that people want me to publish, and they'll have put in like bullet points, but the Word bullet points are not the HTML bullet points, and it does get messy, so I have to redo those things.
Yeah, that's exactly the sort of thing I'm talking about.
Huh.
And when that doesn't translate, does it still leave the text looking like it's in a list so that you can easily find it and add the bullets back, or is it kind of a fishing game that you have to go and find it?
I can't remember exactly. It just comes out a little crazy, but I just end up taking the bullets off and then putting the HTML, the WYSIWYG bullets in.
Right.
And then sometimes I'll have to add like Shift Enter to get to the next line and do the next bullet point.
It doesn't allow you to get down to the next bullet point? Is that why using the Shift Enter? Is that why?
Well, if you're in paragraph, you get sometimes you get a bigger space between the bullet points that I don't like.
Got it. Okay, so but that is using the Word bullet points, or that's using MyLO's bullet points?
Well, when you copy and paste something from Word, you pick up that bullet point that they've put in
Right.
Word. And so you just kind of have to end up deleting. I can't tell you exactly what happens because I forget. But every time I do it, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna redo it.
Yeah, you recall at least that you've had that before.
Yeah, and I have, you know, issues too when people create something on a Mac. It doesn't necessarily transfer very well to a PC, and probably vice versa, but I haven't had to deal with that because I work on a PC. But I know that, you know, like our president works on a Mac, and so the things that she creates, the formatting doesn't always transfer to what I'm doing when I'm trying to put it on the website.
Yeah, no, that definitely is difficult. That's an age-old argument that people have, PC or Mac, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think in the beginning, it's very confusing. Once you understand what's going on, you just fix it, you know. But it's good to know
to you for understanding it.
I have a different question while we're here.
Mm-hmm.
That yellow panel is a very attractive yellow. When I turn something into a special notice, it looks fine. And then I save it and it becomes the most horrible mustard yellow. Now, I understand that these are the approved colors, but I want to put out a protest and ask, isn't there some way that it's not so dark and grimy looking?
Do you have the purple and gold?
Yes, yes.
I think that's why.
Yeah,
the yellow is the red and blue.
I don't know. I believe that the themes are set. I don't know if there's a possibility of changing those. But yeah, we did get these colors from National Branding Standards. And I believe that
I can flip to red and blue, right? I can change my choice.
Yeah, you certainly
can. I may give it a try because I liked that ability to highlight, but then it looks so dismal that I really think, oh, that's awful.
Yeah. Do you want me to show you where that's at, where that setting is at?
I've been able to find it. I might be able to find it again.
it changes your whole website though. It's not just the page.
Right, yeah, it's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. But it's just the color scheme. It doesn't change anything else.
Right, well, it depends on your menu too. If you have a menu
I was
that's
gonna-
going across the top, it will change that.
Another
it-
thing that another solution might be, yeah, Marisa, I would love this too, is to have more options for background colors.
Yeah, I definitely can take that as a request.
Yeah, that
Not
makes
not
sense.
just for notices, but I mean just anything I want to put a background color on. I'd love to be able to do that.
There is, well, as far as working with the full HTML text editor, you can. Let me actually, well, let's work with something on the home page. I've worked with this thing maybe once before, so hopefully it's going to work for me. This is specific to tables, though that's the only thing. So it can mimic this notice box. It might look a little bit different though. So I'm going to use that text, just drop in a little table for myself. I have 2 columns, 2 rows, something basic. And so now what I want to do is work with the background of this cell here. Whoops. Okay, so now I have it highlighted, and let's just work with the table cell properties. Going over to the advanced side, we have the border color and background color available. If you know the color, type it right in or just use the color picker. There's 3 different ways to choose here too. So the picker, the palette, and then by name. And I think they're in alphabetical order. Let's just choose something very similar to the gold color that we're trying to get away from, just to test it out. So it shows up here, but the trick is to be able to see it once we save it. We do need to set it to full HTML. If we saved it under WYSIWYG, then it would just come up as the white table. It would not be the color that we chose.
Could you
So now-
clarify that, please?
So if I save this just as WYSIWYG, it shows
Right.
up here with the color, but
Yeah.
upon saving, it's going to be just white. It would not take on the color we selected. So you are
So-
required to set it to full HTML first. Make
So
sure
you
that
set
you,
it to HTML, do the save, and then it's going to look like you, but I see the HTML, so once it's
Mhm.
saved, the HTML converts to WYSIWYG.
but yeah, and every time you come back in to edit the page, you'll see that HTML. You can swap it to WYSIWYG to make your necessary changes. But you do need to save this as full HTML so that this color sticks.
Is that just color or any table property?
Just the color on the table property?
Isn't there a problem if that went all the way across the, you know, this
If this
screen?
cell was longer?
Yes, isn't there a problem with seeing that on a cell phone once you make a table that long?
I think that it's just going to make the, let's make it longer, but I believe it is going to make the line just break down into 2 lines or 3 lines, however long this cell needs to be. It should just keep growing. So that should be long enough. I'm going to remove this column. There we go. Okay.
Can you
So
have a
I'm
one cell table?
Yes, you can. Mhm.
Okay.
So from the point that you're creating it, you can just make it one row or one column, one row, and then you also have tools to remove rows and columns. I'm going to publish this so that I guess there was no need to publish. Oh, okay. This is a good example. I saved this under WYSIWYG, and so the color did not stick. I'm going to go back in, change it to full HTML, and then save again. Okay, full HTML, and we'll just publish that. Okay. So now let's check this out again, inspect it so we can see what the mobile viewer would be seeing.
Oh, this is great.
So yeah, it is a good alternative because you get to choose virtually from any color.
Oh, I've been avoiding tables because I thought there was a problem with that.
Yeah, no, definitely can make use of it. It may have been just that we were saving it in WYSIWYG before, and I think that I didn't know that full HTML was what made the difference. Because I know we had an office hours about tables before.
So I'm noticing the color that you picked doesn't really match the other color. I mean, it's similar, but it's not the same. But that thing you showed us earlier where you could see the properties of components, does that include the color so that you could find the actual code and make colors match if you want to?
Oh, yeah, let's see. I don't actually know. So if we use, yes, it does. So just as we did to find the dimensions of something, you can find the background color of that same thing, if it indeed has a background.
Yeah, so it
Oh,
would have
that's cool.
the numeric identifier of that color, right?
Yeah, see,
It says
Key
it says
that,
color, and then it has font, and then it has background, and it has the hex number for the background color.
perfect, nice. It even has a little icon that shows you what the color is.
Yeah, and I'm going to try it now for the one that we added. Let's see if I hover. Yep, if I hover over the cell, it gives me the background color, and I get the dimensions as well.
Can we get them to fix the WYSIWYG so that it actually works with background colors in tables?
Well, what the thing is that the WYSIWYG is interpreting the HTML that the background color, or the HTML that is producing the background color. So if the WYSIWYG is already interpreting it, there's nothing left to be interpreted once we save it. So that's the reason why the full HTML does need to be set. It's similar to how the embed code for a widget works. When we have it set to WYSIWYG, the widget appears and it looks like you could make a payment through the PayPal button or whatever you have when you're looking at it through WYSIWYG. But then that leaves nothing for the system to then interpret once you've saved it because it's already been translated through the WYSIWYG. So it is a functionality thing more than just it. It is working as it is expected to work. All right, well, on that note, I think if we don't have any other questions.
Mary Jo does.
Yes, Mary Jo.
But I was just kind of waiting. I'm always asking stuff. So I still need to start working on the, members only page. And I was kind of flipping through some stuff and I had a note that you said you can create a welcoming message. But in thinking about it, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is we only have 100 members is maybe going ahead and creating the accounts for everybody, because I know that's one option. And then if they want to change their password, they can. But so they wouldn't really be getting a welcoming message because I'm the one that's signing them up, right? Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Right. It doesn't automatically happen.
Right, I mean, if, I might get a welcoming message if we created one, but, you know, every time I create, well, no, I don't know how that works. Do you know what I'm
The system,
saying?
yeah, the system is not creating a message for every new member that you're adding.
Oh, okay, what was the, oh, so what did my notes say? Because my notes said, Amaris can create a welcoming message. What does that mean?
Yeah, that is associated with the bulk member upload. If you wanted to give
Oh,
us the spreadsheet, once
Okay,
we add them in, then we can just, I would personally, through my work inbox,
okay,
send
so,
a,
and I'm not gonna be
an
doing
email.
that, so, oh, okay. So
Mhm.
do I
Okay.
need to have you, if I fool around with a few of them, is there anything you need to do to our website to, I probably, I think you told me no. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, you're
yeah,
you're set to go. If you're going to be creating them, then you don't really need to make a change. There was only that one setting that you know, you could allow folks to choose your league's name from the registration page. But if you're creating their accounts, then
Yeah.
you don't need to worry about that.
and then I have the suggested password that you gave us. And so then I guess somehow I'm gonna send a message to these people and saying, you know, you can go in now, you can use this password or go in and change it on your
Mhm.
own or,
Yeah, and we have documentation on how to reset your password.
okay, just
So that
include
should
that.
help.
Okay. Yeah, I'm eager to start that. And then I just, so then I just start like adding pages. I mean, is that what it is? I mean,
Yeah,
put that in.
they would, it could be whatever type of content. You could add pages, you can add events, committees, whatever, just as long as you're setting them to be private. Let me close these.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. Oh, that's right. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to drop the
So
link
much to think
to,
about. Yeah,
yeah, the link I just dropped in the chat was how to reset your password or how to log in as well. And then here's a link, creating members only content.
can I just, I'm asking a dumb question. I'm just trying it now. Can I just highlight these things you've got in chat and then just put in a Word document? And I mean, is that,
Yeah, you might also have an option to, can you download the chat?
If you go in
Yeah.
the chat box, there's 3 dots and next to a smiley face and it's save chat.
yeah, I think I've done that before. Yeah, okay.
And it'll be in your Zoom folder.
And I'm sorry, so I'm in chat. Oh, I see the dots. Okay.
Mhm.
Save chat. Okay, thank you. I forgot about that. Thanks.
Yeah.
But the other way does work too. This makes more sense. Thank you.
I have a different question if Mary Jo's
I'm
sat
finished.
there. A few weeks ago, Amaris, you sent out a fairly lengthy discussion for people to help them with a problem they were having. And I looked at it, it meant nothing to me, but it looked like it might relate to the fact that people were making edits and they weren't taking. And they were supposed to do this and that and the other to make the edit actually complete and show up as a published change. Well, I had an experience like that recently, and I thought, I wonder if that's what she was talking about. So my first question is, how quickly should I expect an edit to be taken? Is this supposed to be instantaneous, or can there be a delay before your system gets the thing completed? And what was it you were talking about?
So what you're mentioning right now is different than what I was originally reporting, I believe, because there's 2 different issues that have been referred to. The first, the one that I was calling attention to, has to do with drafts. And let me see if I can pull one up. This is specifically having to do with the apply button here. When changes are made to a draft and you use the apply button here, what happens is that the most recent changes are not the ones that are being kept, which is expected, or that's what the expected result should be. Instead, the changes that are being saved are the ones prior to the most recent. So it is different than your changes not showing up because of a delay. It's just that this apply button is malfunctioning and causing the wrong revision to be saved as the published one. And then the other issue of where there's a possible delay, let's say that you have applied the publishing and you do see the version that you were expecting to see, or the revision that you're expecting to see. But the issue then becomes apparent once you log out. This is the second issue. That is usually caused by caching. And what we can often do to try to help is, aside from just a page refresh, what we can do is flush our browser's cache. We can flush flush the cache of our computer. Those can help speed up this process of us being able to see the most current version. This usually happens because the cache is always there to bring up and load the most current version that they have on file, but they do that so that it can load as quickly as possible. So sometimes the cache takes a while to kind of catch up and let go of those older versions of whatever you're looking at.
Okay.
And I will say that I tested out those recommendations of flushing the browser and flushing the cache the other day, and it was about 15 minutes that it took to see those changes. And that was also making sure that I didn't continually make changes to the draft or apply different revisions, because that can sometimes slow the cache down too.
Okay.
Did they fix the apply button yet, or is that still a problem?
That is still a problem. We still aren't sure of what is causing that. So again, if you have a current draft that you're working with, please do use the edit draft instead and publish from this side.
That's what I've been doing. But you'll let us know when it starts working again, right?
Yeah. Yes, certainly. We'll let you know as soon as that's back online.
So I just want to say that we remember the issue a while ago about things kept showing up on our front page about I don't know. Okay, so I haven't seen those in ages.
Okay, good. We've kind of been unofficially calling it empty listings, or you know, those I can't think of a better word, but definitely a thread or posting that is popping up out of nowhere.
Volunteer posts.
It's just an empty little post that's doing a little extra work for you, showing off what the leagues are doing, even though you didn't ask for it.
But I mean, it was funny because I mean, obviously it was something technical because it was happening all the time for a couple months or so, and then nothing. So it worked.
Yeah. No, we definitely reported that to our tech team once that popped up, and they may have done a little magic on their end. It's true. I haven't heard it in a while since we last had that review in the office hours.
Do you know if the Firefox WYSIWYG issue has been fixed? I haven't been in there lately because
as far as the resizing images?
Well, actually, there was the resizing. That's always been there. But no, the fact that when I was in WYSIWYG mode, it was completely blank.
So for Chrome, right?
It was happening, yes. Right.
If you have time, I have a couple of things that we might be able to troubleshoot with. I haven't had any, well, I haven't for some possible things that we could try, but I haven't had a confirmation because I can't reproduce the issue myself. But if you have time, we could definitely connect right after this if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I went ahead and I loaded up Microsoft Edge, right?
Mhm.
And so I've been using that. So,
And that's been fine.
and so I've been able to do things, but it would be nice to know if the others were fixed.
Right. Yeah, I think, well, as far as Firefox, the resizing, I don't think that that's something that we can change or toggle. Just the fact that the images don't have the resizing border in Firefox. And then the issue with Chrome, just to catch other folks up, Maddie is having an issue where the WYSIWYG just doesn't load up its content. So I haven't heard that as an issue from others. We're just going to try to tackle this and see what we get.
Okay, so that was really just unique to me.
Sadly, yes. And I told, you know,
Wonder why I'm so special.
You know, that makes me think, and I think I know the answer, but is it possible, because we're always in, you know, administrator mode, we're not really going, you know, logging out and going back in. I mean, is there ever a reason that what we think is working fine is not working fine for the public?
no, you should always have the same experience that they would.
Yeah,
So if something isn't working, it shouldn't be working for you too, or, you know, for all around.
Well, no, I meant it is working. I say, oh, that looks good. Okay, on to my next job. I don't go into, you know, I don't log out and then go back in to see what it looks like to the public. You know,
Oh,
you know
I
what I'm
see.
saying? I'm assuming that it's the same, but and
I
I've
see.
never heard anybody say anything. So
Yeah, no, it in off cases, it definitely can take some time, especially if there are multiple edits, if there's just more stuff or files cached, depending on the user too. So like I said, it usually is not more than, in my test, it was like 10, 15 minutes at the most. And that was also me making some flushing of cache changes.
but if I'm seeing the change as an administrator, you're saying sometimes as a public person, it might take a while?
It could
Oh.
need some time to catch up.
Oh,
Yeah.
even though it looks fine to me, because I always go back to the main page and check it, but even, that's new to me, okay.
Yeah, I've had quite a bit, you know, when in the beginning, I would log out of administrator mode so I could see what it looked like to the public, and that's when my changes wouldn't be there. And then I would
Oh,
log back into administrative and they would be there, you know, and then I'd go look on my phone and they wouldn't be there.
oh my
But then
gosh.
by the next day, they would be there. And I
Wow.
guess Maurice is saying that it's actually more like 15 minutes to a half hour if you flush your cache and do all of that. But yeah, that was, I wasted hours and hours trying to figure out why my changes weren't showing up.
Wow, I guess I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then eventually they just were there.
Huh. Well, that's
I
interesting.
even had that with my last change. You know, I had to wait till the next day, and then sure enough, everything was fine.
Okay. Well, thank you. Okay.
I think we have a train joining us in this
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
That's
Sure.
what it sounded like to me.
So are we gonna meet in 2 weeks then?
Yes.
Again? Okay.
That's gonna be, what is that? August 24th, and it's just gonna, or 27th, sorry.
Yep.
It's just gonna be a general session,
Okay.
unless unless I can think of something to come with, but definitely bring your questions. Yeah, and we'll have another discussion time.
Anne-Maurice, as people, I don't know if this would work out, but as people renew their subscriptions, I'm sure there's some kind of text, like, oh, I'm glad you're enjoying your, whatever. You might
Mhm.
remind people about these hours because I think they're just so helpful. I don't know if everybody knows. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're very right about that. I often forget that we have these, and I think how could I? Yeah, I definitely need to get on reminding people, or every time I email a MyLO user, I just need that to be my PS.
Yeah, but
So
I
look-
guess if they're enrolled with the Gmail group, then they do see it when you send something out about your office hours. I
Right.
guess they are seeing
It does depend though on how they're subscribed. They could have toggled them off and said, I don't want to receive any emails. But yeah, if they left their setting as we set them up, then they would be receiving all of those.
Okay.
One thing we could do is put a message out on the Google board saying how much you've helped us and how many things. Every time I come, I learn something new. So I think it's absolutely worth the time.
Yeah, and that would be super appreciated if you encouraged folks, and even if they wanted to come in just for a little bit. I know I've seen people pop in just for whatever time they can, and it's you can pick up whatever we're throwing out there, definitely.
I agree. It's definitely worthwhile. I mean, I love everything that's planned, and then also all the interaction with the other webmasters. We've all had different experiences we can all learn from. So,
And also, because I know I was concerned, as Anne-Maurice knows, how much handholding we were going to get, through this whole process. And I don't know that when we started, you were having these, but I think if you're talking to people that are considering, this expensive subscription, then to say, well, we will be here to work with you. And, anyway, just.
Yeah. No, I'm frantically making mental notes because these are all sales points.
The recordings are also really valuable if a person can find them, which I frequently couldn't. But for a long time, I couldn't come at this time. And so people who can't come at this time at least could benefit from the recording.
Yeah, definitely a good library of stuff that we have. In case you haven't seen it before, we do on our documentation page have a way to search for past trainings, any of the recordings or videos. We have them there. And the cool thing is that you can search by whatever in the description. So I'll try to always put a good list of keywords based on what we talked about. So let's see, what's something I can look up? Let's look up WYSIWYG. You see is what you see is what you see. And you have a good list of options that includes WYSIWYG. But this is the easiest way to try to search for the exact thing you're looking for if you can't remember the office hour date. But also you can always send me an email if you don't remember which date it was. I might have a note of what we talked about that day.
I just want to share with people. So we put our like forums and stuff on YouTube, and so we have a YouTube display. So I don't know if they come automatically, but it was the first time I ever saw it, and it came through Gmail, and it was analytics for YouTube. It was some kind of newsletter or something. It was amazing. And so it gives you a month, and it said that our forum that we had for our mayor, which is it's a contentious race, had 1,200 views.
wow.
And I thought, wait a minute, this has got to be a mistake. And then I looked at, some of the other ones, and they were like 5 or 15. So I thought, well, that sounds like it could be. And I had a friend of mine that said, I looked at the, vote 411, your voter guide, but I'm so glad I watched your forum, and we didn't even have the forum live. We just, did it without people, and then we put it on YouTube.
That is awesome.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, to see the traffic that's amazing.
It's so exciting. And you know, a year ago, we never would have had it because, or whenever we were on WordPress and nobody knew how to do it, you know, and oh man, I'm so glad I pushed.
Yeah. And then you have the result right there, and you can say, see, it worked.
Oh, we were, yeah, I mentioned it at a meeting yesterday and people were just so excited. Yeah. Does everybody get those YouTube statistics? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, it's so fun.
I get an email every once in a while about how many people visited our website. And I'm
Oh.
sure it's Google Analytics, which I signed up for and I embedded on the website, but I don't really know how to use the Google Analytics. I don't know if that's in your area of responsibility, Emerise, but if you can sometimes do us a tutorial on how to use that.
We
Would
did
be
one.
good.
She did one.
We did have one, but
Yeah.
we definitely, if we might even consider doing another, but we do have a couple of videos.
Okay,
So informational. Yeah.
I
This
will
one
look for that.
I'll drop into the chat. This was the most recent one that we did, and it is, I believe this is the one where my colleague Elizabeth Leslie joined us. She knows a lot about Google Analytics, and so she helped us go through the basics of generating the kinds of reports you want, and then it sounds like you already have it connected, so add Google Analytics. You won't need.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is
Was that
going to
during
be
the
the most
convention,
beneficial
Maurice?
video. What was that?
Was that during the convention when you guys did that?
Yeah, I
think so.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that, yeah.
That was so informational. And I do remember that's where I learned more about tags. And Elizabeth saying, you know, most people, and so I tried to say at the meeting yesterday, because they said, well, why are you doing all this? I'm doing it for engagement. And they said, most people, she said, most people come to your webpage through Google, and it's a really high percentage, you know, of people, she said. But one thing I learned either from Elizabeth or from your thing, but so our one of our people had been literally, she was using the Google Analytics, but she was, I don't know how she did it, but I think she was like typing the titles of the different articles and said, oh, it's got to be an easier way to do that. And so then I kind of looked at stuff, and there's like a PDF summary or something. So I told her, well, use this. So I think she's using it now. I'm not on the board anymore, so I don't know exactly what she shares, but anyway, that was just great.
Yeah.
You know, something related to doing searches for us, when people search for us, they very frequently end up on the national website with a link to us, and they then don't necessarily find us, and they send us emails from there, and it's all. So the national link to us comes up before our local link to us comes up.
It does depend. So right now I just looked up LWV Sacramento County, and I do have the MyLO link up first.
Yeah.
And then down here we have the national link.
You can tell right away. Oh.
It could vary because we are technically under the same domain as the National League. Both of our links do very, very well on online searches.
Well, try Ann Arbor or well, it used to be called Ann Arbor. We call it Washtenaw.
Yeah. Yep.
Is it like that?
I can't see.
Yep.
And it could be
It came up
maybe
second.
because of the recent name change, it's going to take a little bit more time for the
No,
Washtenaw County.
it's been that
MyLO
way
site.
right along.
Yeah, that's interesting. I
Since
wonder
it was Ann
what
Arbor.
ours is. Huh.
When it was Ann Arbor, it would, the couple of times I fooled around with it, it was not top of the list. So
Well, that is
I want to
interesting.
promote us. How do I promote it?
That I am not sure of. I'll have to get with or ask Elizabeth. I'm not sure how these work because in my mind they just happen naturally. And I'm not sure how to try to persuade it to do that.
Well, they both go to the same place though, right? Oh, you said,
Mm,
no, you
No,
said they
this kind
don't.
of is it's a one stop before getting to your actual site,
Oh,
and then
okay.
we click
All
through. and
right.
it will-
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, let me ask you.
Interesting. Huh. I'll have to look.
It's learning more about tags and how to promote our site and all of that. That's on my
Yeah.
to-do list for this fall.
Maybe it's got to do with the fact that you don't say LWV before Washtenaw.
But we do.
I'm looking at it right here.
He's just referring to this part here, and that's something that we could change easily. It just has to do with the meta tag.
Yeah, mine, the Ventura County comes up on top, but it also doesn't have the LWV in front of it. So
And
the
so,
first
yeah, and
one,
that's
my Google
that's-
search is Ventura County, MyLO League of Women Voters, and then the second one is LWV of Ventura County League of Women Voters, and that's the national.
Yeah. I just tried mine and ours comes out first, so I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and it's worth a shot of adding the LWV if you'd like, but if
That's what I put.
don't know
I
if
put-
that would
yeah.
make a difference.
I know that people are chronically confused when MyLO turns up in the name.
Yeah.
And so seeing it like this, they won't know that that's us, even though in the green, it says it's us.
And
sort of.
again, you can change any portion of it. So you can add LWV, you can remove MyLO. You
I
make
can
any-
do that?
Yeah, do you want me to show you where
Yeah.
that's at?
Yes, yeah,
That would be
please.
great.
I'd be afraid to.
It's actually not that bad. It is, it's going to be in your home page. I'm going to masquerade as you, Susan, so we can see it. Okay, so in the home page in a new draft, it's at the very, very bottom. So here under meta tags, the page title is built by two different tokens. Node title is the title of your home page, so that's why it only reads Washtenaw County and doesn't include the LWV. And then the site name is MyLO, because that's the name of our website. You can just remove the site name and add, League of Women Voters. And then at the beginning, LWV, and you can leave the token so that if any other time your league name changes and you change the home page title, it's still going to dynamically change with it, this page title.
You realize I don't understand a thing you said or did, but I'm delighted to have it done.
Well, this doesn't, I guess, doesn't matter too much anymore, but back when your title was Ann Arbor area,
Yeah,
this node title represents, it would represent Ann Arbor area. And once you changed it up in the top here, at the top of your home page, you don't need to change it here under meta tags because this is dynamically changing with your home page. But
If you
again,
say
it's
so.
not, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just recommended to leave this as
Okay.
is. And then yeah, adding LWV if you'd like, League of Women Voters. The description is taken from the body of your homepage. But again, you could be specific here and make changes. But that's what I would recommend. Do you want me to save that for the page title?
Let's do it. We'll see what happens. And if
Yeah.
it's horrible, I'll send you an email and say help.
Sounds good. Okay, so edited the page title meta tag. It's a little hard to see, but if you can see the title of my tab up here, it also changed that too. So it says LWV Washtenaw County, little separator line, League of Women Voters.
Yeah,
So
super.
let's see about
Yeah, so let's Google.
Googling you now. Not a surprise, it might take some time because of the cache and not only the cache of my computer, but like the cache of the search engine. So just know that the change is on its way, but it may take some time for all of these things to catch up.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
just a cosmetic change. That's what I was afraid of, ooh, but you're, okay.
Yeah, it is a cosmetic change. I don't think it'll have an influence on the position of the result, but I'm hoping that Elizabeth will have some tip for me or some news on that.
Well,
Yeah.
with the name being more clear, even being in second position is good. So that's not so horrible.